G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report, bloody hot. Yeah, it's 32 in the shed here today. Oh, not in the shed, outside the shed, but in the shade. But yeah, look, that's not too bad really. It's a bit muggy. We've had a lovely cool build up to the wet season, but yeah, we're starting to kick in now. 19 degrees overnight and 32 today. Humidity's right up there. I'm sweating a little bit, and we may get a storm this evening. Now, I don't know if you can hear. I've got the mics that quieten things down on a bit, but the shed's going nuts. There's a little bit of cloud around, and the sun comes out, and she cracks and crackles and pops, and away she goes. And then the cloud comes over and does the same all over again. So when you're working in the shed here, you can hear it, but it doesn't worry you. You just sort of go a bit deaf to it. But when you're playing with sound and videos, it's way out there. It's a nuisance. So anyway, hopefully we've got all that okay. I've got the outboard here. I had that apart last week. I got all the parts, and I put a thing on Instagram about it. And a few blokes come and said, "Oh, you're going to film putting it together?" Because I said, "Oh, I've got the boat apart, change of pace." And they said, "You're going to film it?" And I said, "Oh, I wasn't thinking of it. It's just a bloody boat." And they said, "Oh, it'll be interesting." So anyway, I thought, all right then, I'll film it. Just putting the water pump back on and doing a few things like that. So I would have the boat running if I wasn't filming. And on Saturday morning, I had put aside for filming and for doing this and just getting that done. And I had the sparkies coming for the hoist, and yeah, we didn't quite get there. The hoist's working now. There should be a little light between the raise and lower switch, and that wasn't coming on. And on the main computer inside the board, it's got a permanent fault showing, or it did have. And see, we didn't know it had a fault. We just knew it wasn't working. And we'd been up and we'd triggered all the trigger switches and all the limit switches. You got, 2 for maximum height up, 2 for maximum low, 1 for each arm, and reed switches on the top and a bar across the top. So if you put like a minivan or something up there, it hits that and cancels out. So back when I started it and I pressed the down button and it went up on one side, it triggered the switch. And so the computer worked out that we were out of phase and it wasn't safe. So it put this fault in, but we got, we overrode it and got it down and all that. But once we got it right down, and we're probably testing each switch separately, we were probably making it worse. So there's not a button inside the box there for resetting the computer, but there's a little procedure that we found in the book to go through. So we had to get one each side on the lower micro switches, and you have to do it exactly together. So 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down, then 1, 2, 3 up. And so those 2 switches at the bottom, they were in phase, so they were both working together. But by testing each switch separately, we weren't actually helping it, because one switch was triggering and the other one wasn't. The computer thought that we were way out of whack. So once we did all that, away it went. So I'll certainly remember that next time. And yeah, when we were testing switches, I'd press one and I'd go and press, say the right-hand raise limit switch, and yeah, Nick would test the input, and we had all the inputs working. It's just that the brain box thought we were out of whack. So so that was good. That was a pleasant surprise. So yeah, I thought, oh well, we're back going. So I had the trailer down and on stands and all that. So now we have the trailer up on the stands, up on the hoist. The sparkies left, and the phone rang from next door, and it was Selena, Grumpy Dave's missus, and she said, "Can you show me how to, if I bring me whippersnipper over, can you show me how to put some cord on it? Because a young bloke does it for her," and he'd gone away. So I said, "Yeah, no worries." So we had a school on doing whippersnipper cord, and we just had a yarn and had a look at making chopping boards and things. She's arty crafty, Sheila, so she sort of likes looking at that stuff. So we had probably an hour yarn about that. And I thought, okay, now she's gone, I'll get into the boat here and get this happening. No sooner had I filmed, I think I filmed 3 minutes of it or something, and she started whippersnipper, weed eating. In the background. I thought, oh shit. I'd also forgotten about ski boat racing down at the dam, down on the river here. So Saturday was a bit of a ride off there. So I finished the day off up playing around with a bit of the wood stuff that I do and all that. So anyway, with the hoist going, I put the wheels back on the boat and got it all lined up so I could pick it up on the hoist. And I've moved the boat forward 120 mil back to where it used to be. And I took it another 20 yesterday. But then when you do that, you need to reset the skids under the boat because it comes up a little higher or that at the front or lower at the front. You just have to balance it out so you haven't got one set of runners holding all the weight of the boat, so it's a nice even thing. So I spent the afternoon yesterday just finishing off a couple of things on the front of the boat trailer, and once I got the boat forward, trying to level out the load on these skids. So I think we're pretty good because going on rough roads, you want it to spread the load over as many items as you can and then strap it down hard. So so I've got that done. I downloaded an update for the Hummingbird, but it didn't take, so it looks like we have the latest one anyway, so that's good. I've got the wheels. The wheels are 14-inch Ford pattern on galvanised rims, Sunraysia pattern here. And these are good for, I was reading, 920 or 30 kilograms. 925 kilos. Oh, it's something or other PSI. It's bugger when you're old and you can't read. So I picked them up off the shop this morning. I went in there and got that. And the big sandblaster's been playing up, so I've got all the sand out of that and made a big mess doing it, of course. And so I got the, because of the mess and all that, I've had a mess in here for ages. So yesterday morning I pressure cleaned all the floor out here, probably halfway. Got the pressure cleaner in tight, and it's always nice to have a clean floor. You feel a bit better about working here and all that. I've got a bit of sweat running down my brow and I haven't even done any work. So I just got to think about working, I'm sweating. So got that done. Then this morning I had to take those motorbikes in. We finally got a truck. It was trying to get a truck to get the pair of boxes to Brisbane to go to the Brisbane port. Now, if you just want to take something to the Brisbane port, you're not allowed. You have to make a booking and they'll give you a half-hour time slot, and it costs you $22 for the booking. And then if you miss that booking, you've probably got to pay again, I don't know. But we tried all the couriers around the place, couldn't get them. And of course you have to use the port one, it turns out, which we didn't know. We're rookies. And so we had to let the logistics company look after that, which I wasn't paying for, like the boys in New Guinea were paying for it. But their company would do it, and then they had the North Line, I think they call it, and then they have sub-agents in town. So Bundy Bullet, which is a courier that told us they couldn't get it there, they come and pick the boxes up because that's their thing. So I ran around in bloody circles. I've got a fire going out the front. I've got the pallets burning, and Jude put a bit of stuff close to it, and I think by the sound of the snap, crackle and pop, I think it's got into the leaves. But look, no harm can be done. I think it's okay. So, I can just hear it crackling and snap, crackle, popping a bit louder. So it sounds like instead of just burning a few old pallets and a little bit of that at the time, it sounds like it's got into the heap that she put near it. But it doesn't matter. Yeah, we'll have a burnt patch on the grass and that'll get better. And this evening we'll probably have a storm, so it'll be all good. So yes, With the boat, I just put that off because I had ski racing there yesterday as well. So getting all the shed done and all that sorted out. I'm about to film this, and look, it's only a quick little job, and so I'll probably just tag it on the end of the stew, I'd say. I'll keep the front half short and let the back half have a bit of mechanicking in. What I mean, I'm 10 minutes in now, so yeah. Poor old Sansa Dog, my old dog here, she's in at the vets. She's been a bugger, and it doesn't matter if you're on a tractor or a motorbike or whatever, she comes and bites that front wheel and on the tractor. And I'm always yelling at her, get out of here, piss off and all that. And yeah, I was thinking one day I'll bloody get you. And anyway, this morning was the day. I had to go in the shop early and get those boxes in because they were booked in for pickup on the 21st and a truck rolled in at the shop because I brought them home again on Friday. So we had to take them in again this morning and get that happening. And I wanted to go to Bunnings, and I come home and let the dog off and buggered around, and then I was coming up the back, so I started the ute and put my phone on the rack, and I could see her up ahead of me, and as soon as I started moving, she come straight in and bang on the wheel. But she must have misjudged, and I've run over her 2 front feet. And and somehow her back foot's got a bit of bark off it too, her back leg. I don't know how that's all worked. But anyway, next thing I see her shot off over and under the bamboo there. After a couple of yoiks and looking a bit sorry for herself. And anyway, I thought, oh shit, what have I done? And so she's her front left leg, she'd put it down and it just sort of no load would go on it, and I thought, oh shit, broke a bloody leg or something. But I could actually pick it up and feel I could move it and all that, and she didn't seem to yelp or be in pain. And the front right's got a hole in it. It must be from a rock or something. And then the back one, it's just got a bit of bark off. And so yeah, I thought, oh bloody hell, what do I do? And I thought I'll just sit with her for a bit and just see how she's going. But yeah, she was huffing a bit. You can see she was a bit distressed. So I thought, oh bugger it, I'll load her up and take her to the vet. Just do the right thing. So took her into the vet, and I opened up the door of the ute and I said, come on, you got to go to the bloody vet and take her to the doggy doctor. Well, bang, straight up into the ute, no trouble at all, but can't use this leg, left hand front. So anyway, so I've been into the vets this morning, and it's, I don't know what time it is now, it's 10:30 10:30, and I've only just got home. And so yeah, they were going to do a few x-rays and just check a few things out. So I left her in there and I started the stew, then they rang and I had to start again. So they've just done all the x-rays and no broken bones or anything like that, but the front right, where there's quite a hole there, it's near a joint, so they want to knock her out and stitch that up to stop infection. So I said, yeah, go for it. And they're going to give her shots because we don't know what shots she's had because she's a hand-me-down dog, and do that. And they said, well, just to check it out and do the x-rays, $1,000. And I said, yeah, all right, just away we go. And now surgery on top, so it'll be more. And but the front leg, there's nothing broken in it that she can't put load on. But what they're saying is, if it was under the vehicle, she tried to pull hard and get it out, they can damage the nerves in there. So they said it may be a dicky leg for quite a while, and with the damaged nerve, won't give her any pain or anything like that, but she'll have to learn to use that leg again a little bit. But they said sometimes it fixes up after a week, it just comes good. And they said other times that they've always got a bit of a dicky leg, and they just hold it up and gallop around like nothing. So we don't know if we've got a dog with a gummy leg or not. So anyway, I gave them the go ahead to operate and just fix up the front foot here. And geez, I hope she's learned a lesson and doesn't come in biting, and I spoke to them in there, and I had been thinking of a little shock or a citronella collar and put on her. And then as soon as she comes at a wheel, hit the button and go. But of course I didn't get to it. And they reckon, yeah, well, if she keeps doing it, it might be a good way to keep her alive. So yeah, the bloody dog's in the vet. So we go and pick, because there's no broken bones, we go and pick her up this afternoon. And call her a few names. And I always tell her I'm going to get a good dog next time. But anyway, I felt bad for running over her, but there's nothing you can do. You start moving off and she just comes in from the side and bang. And a couple of times she's had a bit of a yelp over the time, and I sort of think, oh, I hope you learnt from that, but it doesn't seem like she does. So anyway, so that'll be short and sweet for the stew. I've done nothing else. Oh, I got the hydraulic lever freed up on the Kubota over here, and the gear sticks are all jammed up. So I've been under there jigging around doing that, trying to get that free. I haven't put much time into it this week, just busy. And but anyway, we'll see how we go. It's nice to have a clean floor. I'm sort of half expecting the axle for the boat trailer today sometime. I don't know. Anyway, when it gets here, we'll fit it up and put these wheels on and see if we got to adjust mud guards or what we have to do. The water pump thing. Oh, the keyway on the impeller was quite rusty, so I had to go and get a new one of them. The impeller was quite hard to get off, and it's just a little bit of rust there. So I'll tidy that rust up. I'll neutralise it, put the new key in and put the new water pump impeller on. It's quite easy to do. It's a very easy job just to slide a leg off and back on. Keep your bolts greased up, and like I had this apart a couple of years ago now, so I think if you take them on and off and carry on a little bit and don't just leave them, well, they're not hard to do. So so today I'll probably get the motor back together on the boat. I've got the fire going out the front. I better go and keep an eye on that, I suppose, and then we'll see how we go. Oh, Barry from Man from the Mist, doing his David Brown. I sent you an email this morning, Barry, about how to find David Brown part numbers. So yeah, while I was in the shop loading boxes, I thought I'd go and do emails and go and do shopping and then come home and run over my bloody dog. So anyway, what a day. So yeah, one of those days I should just pack up and go up the shed and drink beer, I think. But anyway, surely it can't get much worse, but we probably shouldn't say that. Yeah. All right, I'll put a video with just popping this together. There's not a lot in it at the end of the stew, and yeah, look, we'll catch you all next week, eh? See ya. Well, I'm over on my bench here, and I'm just putting a new water pump impeller, which looks something like that, on my outboard. It's a Yamaha 50 horsepower 2-stroke, and I popped out on Facebook, well, probably on Facebook. It was an Instagram post that just links to Facebook, that I was doing the water pump, and there's 3 or 4 requests saying, well, you're going to film it? And I said, oh, well, I suppose I could. I wasn't going to. I thought, oh, that's not very interesting, just a quick water pump impeller. But anyway, we've decided we're going to film it just to film it, really. Yeah, so to pull the leg off the power head, look, it's no big deal. There's a bolt comes in through here. It's a hidden bolt, and under your sacrificial little anode there, there's a hidden bolt under that, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then out it comes. And there's a little spline up the back there. That little spline is forward, neutral, and reverse. Can you see that? Yeah, just there. And then the main power comes into the box through this shaft here. So whilst ever the engine is running, the water pump's turning. Now this housing here is the water pump, and it's just held in by four bolts, and it's a composite or plastic housing, so they actually have a washer there, a D-shaped washer to spread the load. So, but I've had all this off, and so I just sat it back roughly just to show you what it looks like when you pull it apart. But you take the top off, and then we have the rubber impeller sits on the shaft. So whilst ever the engine is running, that water pump impeller is turning. And I'd had a look at this impeller a couple of years back, but I'd never pulled it off, no need. And I thought, well, it's not too bad. And they're a rubber product, and even though this boat's probably 10 years old, I've had it for quite a while, and look, it still feels soft. And when you bend him right back over, it doesn't seem to want to fail. But anyway, those who follow the stews know that we're getting the boat ready, and we just want everything right on it. So I thought, right, off the Yamaha, I'll put a new impeller on. Now, the impeller sits on there, and there's a little Woodruff key, and there's a little groove for a Woodruff key just in under there. And, well, I had trouble getting the impeller off. I ended up with a big lever and, you know, the big red Sid Chrome screwdriver under it to get it out. And it turns out that the key had salt water on it, and I suppose fair enough, it's a water pump, but the water had got in and chewed the key out a little bit. It's a bit crappy looking. So I put the job on hold for a little while, and I thought, well, I'll go and get the new impeller, which I have done, and I may just chuck that in the toolbox for a spare. Yeah, it may help someone else out one day, but I'm going to put a new one on ours just to, I want to go quite remote in the next few years, and I just want everything right. You'll notice that there's no keyway on one side and there is a keyway on the other, so it has to go down that way. So I went to Yamaha, I bought the correct key. The key number is 90280-03024. Now we've had all the boats and lady next to a whippersnipper gone and all that, we can have another go at this. So we buggered up the key, or the key buggered up just from old age and that, so we'll get the key out of the bag. Only a tiny little thing. There we go. There's just a little bit of rust around the side of that shaft now. I might, a little bit of sandpaper on the file. Now you've got to keep in mind, I suppose, that this isn't a high pressure pump, it's just flow. I'm just looking for a little bit of flow, so. Okay, we'll pop this in. Oh, bloody thing, come back here. There's the difference between the two. So we'll get this in there. That's the one. She doesn't want to sit in quite right. I'll just make sure there's no... Oh yeah, a little tiny bit of rust in there. So all I'm doing there, you can't really see it, it's just got a screwdriver in the groove, just trying to make sure there's no hit with the old brake cleaner force. That might sit in better. That does seem better. I'll just see if the impeller wants to slide down over it, if it's on far enough for that. Actually, we'll put a bit of nickel on it. Nickel anti-seize. We'll put that up the shaft here a little bit, that might help it slide down over. So there's a groove in one side for the key and there's no groove on the other, so you just need to bring him down the correct way or else you won't be able to line the bloody key up and then you feel silly. And the key lines up with one of the impeller. Oh, look at that. That's just beautiful, eh? Okay, now you can see that this is the old impeller, keyway down, so this turns clockwise when you look at it. So to bring this housing down, we might just put a little bit of grease on there. And I'll put a little grease inside the impeller housing, just so there's a bit there for startup, you know, if it takes a little bit to get water through or something. There's a couple of little dowels here. This plate would be replaceable as well. So if we bring this housing down, a bit of pressure and turn it the way it would normally go. So those impeller blades will now be sitting in there curved like this fella. So the bolts all get a little bit of never seize on it. This is great, way better than the brush, eh? I love this stuff. Now I had a little ratchet here when I undid it. Here it is. Stop looking. I got it. Now this being a plastic housing too, I suppose it'd be important to mention, don't overdo it. Over tighten it. Now, so whenever this shaft's turning, the water pump's working. Let's try and make them all a nice even torque. Beautiful. Okay, bit of red grease. Now this spline up the back here, this is your forward, neutral, reverse. So we'll pop a heap of grease there. And the spline way up the end of this shaft here, I'm putting grease there too. So what happens over time, these get forgotten about and you go and pull the leg out and you got no hope. So even if you just pull it off now and then for a quick look about and put it back, it's better than leaving it on and doing nothing in salt water. Now we have a little anode there. I've been over to the belt sander and I've cleaned that up, just sanded it a little bit, take the oxidisation off it. Once again, a bit of my favourite. Okay, so that's making contact through there, so that should wear, not anything else. Now, the other important thing is where these housings join, you don't want bare metal there at all. You're in a corrosive environment, but that looks pretty good there, what we have. But what I may do is just run a bit of grease all round, so when we put it together, there'll be a bit of something there to shield the metal a little bit. I don't know if you're supposed to do this, it's just the way I think about it. I think, well, we may as well have it covered, have something there. And with grease we can wipe off any extra that squirts out, there's no worries there. Okay, that's the water pump on. We'll reset the camera and I'll have to put the hoist down and we'll just slide this up and do up the bolts and that's it, all done. Right, so I've got the power head tilted up. I've greased the little dowels. Now, we should be able to feed this up. Now, this is a little breather. He has to go up in the hole and come back. This is our forward reverse. Right, this is our forward reverse lever. There's a little fitting here that goes in, but we should be able to just slide him up here and lift him up like that. So there's 4 bolts, quite easy. One nip up in through. So yeah, they're fairly easy to work on. I imagine they'll be bastards of things when you're, have all rusted, seized, old nuts and bolts and things. I don't think they'd be much good then. They'd be shits of things. So we get the main 4 bolts around here. We'll do that first, and then there's one comes up under here, but we'll shift the camera around so you can actually see where that is. You can't get a nut gun or anything in, so you just got to do the bloody hard yards. That's one side done up. We'll do these others up. That'll do for the moment. I'll come back once I've got it all done. Okay, I've got the boat tipped up at the moment. Now, there's a sneaky little bolt up under here. with a 12mm head that helps with the bolting up the leg. So there's 5 bolts, there's 4 around the outside, then 1 under here. And this fella here, he hides under this little jigger here, this anode. So I'm actually going to put a new one on here. It's a little bit worn, like the one at the back, the little one I put on earlier. It's cleaned up nicely. This one here, perhaps we could have, but I thought, oh, bugger it. You know, we're in there now, so we may as well do it properly. So that should stop him falling out. Yeah, so there's our new sacrificial anode, I suppose you would call it, for want of a better name. And he locks. Pop him in here. There must be a bit of lining up for this fella, eh? There's a little line in the main body here, so we'll just line the centre of that up with that. Beautiful. All right, that's it. So I won't be able to get it going at the moment. I can't get it outside to run it, but that looks okay. I do have to put a set of plugs in it, but as far as that goes, I may check the gearbox oil. Down in the bottom here, there's a gearbox. I put new oil in that a couple of years ago, and it's probably only done 20-30 hours since. This is the old alloy prop. Now, with the old prop, that's up as high as it'll go. With the old prop, it's bashed around a bit, but for around rocks and if we're going crabbing and things like that, we don't worry too much. We use this old prop. If we're planning on doing a lot of ocean work and staying, getting out the front a little bit, which I probably will do a little bit, not a lot, but I've got a nice stainless one we can put on, and we just keep this one. It's a bit soft and it bangs around, and you click a little rock with it, and that it just doesn't matter. It's just that sort of thing is going to happen. So I just leave this one on for the moment, but I always carry a spare. They have a rubber dampener inside here, so they can chop the rubber out. So if you're roaring along and you hit something, you can bugger that rubber up apparently. So I do have a spare prop I cart, but I think we're good. So there you go. That's doing just putting the water pump impeller in the boat. It's something like the other one seems nice and soft, but it's just one of those things, you know. It's not expensive. It's all under $100 to do the whole thing, so we're going okay. And now I know I can go out to some of the remote places in Australia, dams, creeks, rivers, whatever, and I believe I'll have a maintenance-free run. Well, famous last words. All right, catch you later, eh?